Hello everyone, welcome to part 18 of Laravel 9 series in which we are creating multi-vendor e-commerce website. So we are working on vendors module, and in the last few videos we have seen that we able to create the tables that we require for getting the vendors details. See here, we are already having the vendors table in which we are going to store the personal information of the vendors. Here you can check out these fields in which we are going to store data from the admin panel. So vendor is going to update his personal information, and also vendor is going to update his bank information. Okay, so we will get the data from the vendor for its bank details, and also we are going to get the business information of the vendor, in which the vendor is going to have the shop name and other information, and also the address proof, that business license number, GST, PAN number also. Okay, so we are going to have the vendor details one by one. First of all, we are going to work on the personal information to get the personal information from the vendor. See, we are getting these things from the vendor only then the vendor only then the client is going to approve the vendor. Okay, otherwise the vendor can't add the products into the website. So once again I want to tell you that why we are getting these things. Okay, things required from the vendor, this we will call as the mandatory requirements. Okay, requirements from vendor. Okay, so these are all the mandatory requirements. See, personal information, we will get the personal information, we will get the business information, and we will get the bank information. Okay, after getting these details, admin is going to approve vendor account. Admin will approve the vendor account, otherwise admin not going to approve. Only then vendor will then add products. Okay, after that what will happen, vendor is going to add products into our multi-vendor e-commerce website when the admin approve the vendor account. That's why we are adding, we have given that service to the vendor to add personal, business and bank information. So we are working on this thing right now. Okay, after that we are going to work for the eShop module, in which we will cover these products. The vendor is going to add the products. Okay, so let's work on first personal information. In this video we are going to store the personal information, and we are going to add the module in admin panel. So here I'm going to log in into the admin panel with the correct username and password. Okay, sorry, I will log in into the vendor account. See, this is the this is not the vendor account, so I'm going to log in with the vendor's account. Here you can see the vendor email ID is the john@admin.com. So I'm going to log out and will log in with the john@admin.com. Password is 123456. I'm going to sign in. Okay, so here we are going to check. See, welcome John Cena. Okay, so here we are going to check its details. Okay, fine. So we are going to update the vendor details. Okay, so here first thing that we are going to do, we are going to add the route for it. Okay, so I'm going to open the web.php in which we are going to add its route. So we are going to add the route to add the to update the vendor details. Update vendor details. Okay, this one we are going to add the get post route for this. Get post both for the vendor as well. So here we will add update vendor details, and also we are going to pass the slug. We are going to return the slug. So I'm going to tell you that what will happen in this slug, and after that AdminController, sorry, at the rate of update vendor details. Okay, so in slug we are going to pass either personal or business or bank. See, if we will pass the personal, then it means vendor is going to update its personal details, and if we will pass the business, then when vendor is going to update its business details, and we will pass bank, then vendor is going to update its bank details. So it will work for three forms. Okay, so we are going to see that what we're going to do, and we are going to update the left sidebar as well. See, this is not the vendor sidebar. For vendor sidebar we are going to update its sidebar. So I'm going to update the sidebar here, and here you can see we need to add the condition for the admin and subadmin this sidebar, and for vendor we required the different sidebar, and for that we are going to add the condition. See, we can add the same type of we have already having the condition in the header, I think. Like we are having that type in which we are getting its name. So we are going to get the type dashboard, maybe. See this one, guard admin username. Now we are going to get the guard admin user type. Okay, we are having all the information, all the vendor information in auth guard. Like vendor is the type of admin, like I have told you that we have used the guard for admin, subadmin, and for vendors. So we can get the complete details of that vendor from the user table. Okay, so user table, in user table we are going to have the vendor details. Sorry, in admins table we are going to have the complete vendor details, you can see here. Okay, so we will get the complete vendor. Once the any of the admin login into the admin panel, we will get the complete detail of that admin in auth guard, admin. Okay, so we will easily get the information of the vendor from the auth guard, like we have got the name and we are showing at the dashboard. Okay, I hope that it's clear to you. So we can easily add the condition here as well. If, see, we can simply get the type. Okay, here we can get the type, and if type equal to vendor, then we will have the different code. Else for the admin, subadmin, we are going to have the different code for admin, subadmin, and super admin. Okay, so I'm going to copy this one, we'll paste it here as well, and we'll make the changes here. Okay, so here what I'm going to do, I'm going to have the vendor details, because vendor is going to update his details here, and we are going to update the personal details, business details, and bank details. And for that I'm going to write here personal details, business details, and one more, bank details. Okay, and we are going to update their routes as well. Here I am going to make it update vendor. Okay, for all three I am going to make it update vendor. Okay, so and here we are going to add, like first one is the personal, and here we are going to add business. We are going to pass the business, and we are going to pass the bank, like this one we have used for the slug. Okay, so now we will check once, we will have the different sidebar. Now I'm going to refresh, and here you can see we are now having the vendor details, we are having the personal details, business details, and bank details for the vendor, because the vendor login, that's why we are showing here the vendor details. We are not showing the settings, we are showing the vendor details. And here also we are going to update. Okay, we are going to update one by one. See, whenever we will go to dashboard, now the then they are going to update, they can update these things. They are not going to update that page that we have done for the admin and subadmin, for super admin as well, but now we are having these three things for the vendor. Okay, so we are going to make these pages now same like update admin details. Okay, so here we need to update here also vendor details. Okay, so these are the things we need to do now. Okay, this one, see, it is saying we don't have any function, so we are going to create that function in AdminController now. same like update admin details. We are going to create the function here like update vendor details. Okay, public function. Okay, so we are going to manually add this one. Update vendor details. Okay, so here we will get this slug. Okay, slug will is mandatory, and so we will get here slug. So slug can be, like I have told you, slug can be personal, it can be business, or it can be bank. Okay, so we will have this slug here, dollar slug may be equal to personal. If the vendor wants to update its personal information, then everything we are going to do inside this slug. And if the vendor is going to update, he wants to update his uh, uh, business information, then we are going to work inside this condition. And else, if vendor is going to want to update his bank information, then we will have this bank slug, and then vendor is going to work on this one. So everything we will return, will get return. We are going to make one separate page under admin folder, under settings folder. In that we are going to create one update vendor details. Okay, this page we are going to create now, and we are going to pass that, we are going to return that slug. Okay, we are going to return this slug, okay, to that page. So we are going to make this page update vendor details, same like update admin details. So we are going to make this same copy like update admin details. I am going to file save as update vendor details. We are already having the design, so no need to do from the scratch. We will just make the changes. See, update vendor details, and but this here we are going to make the changes. Okay, this row, this form is not same for all the vendor, because we will have the either have the personal form for updating the personal information of the vendor, or maybe having the business form for updating the business information of the vendor, or maybe having the bank form for updating the bank information of the vendor. So it differs from the slug. So here also we are going to add the condition like if the here we are going to add if the slug, see, slug is coming from there, we are returning the slug from the function. If the slug is equal to personal, then we will have the one set of information. Else if dollar slug equal to business, and else if the slug is equal to bank. Okay, like this. So we are going to work on the first one, and here we are going to have like update personal information. We are going to update the personal information of the vendor, personal information. Let's check once that the form is coming here. See, now it is coming, update personal information. Here in settings we are going to make it update vendor details. Now check. Okay, so we are going to update the personal information. So here we are going to add the complete personal form. We are going to show that vendor username, email we can show, but we are going to show the complete personal form here, that is having the name, address, city, state, country, everything, all information we are going to show here. Okay, so first thing is we can show the vendor email. Okay, here we can give it like this, vendor username, email. then then here this is not required. Admin type, this is not required because we are not going to show this type to the vendor. Just vendor username email, or simply yeah, vendor username email is enough. After that we are going to show the name, address and all the information. And uh, here we are going to have see, we are already having the name and mobile, and also vendor photo we will just write like this. Okay. And other fields we are going to add that the vendor can update: address, city, state, country, pin code, mobile. Okay, all these fields we are going to add now. Take this one, we are going to do it like this to save the time. And after that we are going to have all the fields here. Okay, mobile we can add later on after this one. After that we can have address, see, one by one: address, city, state, country. And address, see, address value we are not having, we will have that admin. Then here also we can do one thing: we can make it vendor name. Okay, like this. And here we can keep that username, that is fine. And but here we again going to have that vendor address. Okay, then after that vendor city. This one we will get from the function. Okay, so after the city, state and country, state. And also okay, first let us do here. Then country, see, country we will make the drop down later on. Okay, right now we are adding it as a field, but we are going to update it as a drop down. We will show all the countries. After completing this vendor module, we are going to make it select box for the country. Okay, so here we are going to make it vendor underscore country. So we are going to check one: state, country, then pin code, mobile. Vendor underscore pin code. And finally we are having the mobile as well, and that is fine. Okay, we can, so we will get the vendor information here. See, we can get the vendor information in the same way like we are also getting earlier these details, like admin details we are getting. So in the same way we are going to have the vendor information. Where is the vendor form? Update vendor details here. Okay, so so we are going to get these details here, and going to do like this: admin details, but here we are going to make it vendor details. Okay, so uh, see, the details we are getting in array, to array we are using. So these details we are going to send to our blade file like this. Okay, so now we are going to check there vendor details. So first of all, we are going to show the information here in the form itself. We are going to have the information of all the fields like toddler vendor details. We are having in array, like address we are having. So we are going to check once that whether we are getting all the details, and here something seems to be incorrect. Okay, undefined array key address. So we need to make sure that we are getting the correct data here we need to check it once, and also we need to make sure that we are getting the data in the correct way. So we are going to get the details from the id. Okay, so from the vendor id, also not from the admin, but yeah, from the vendor table. Okay, from the vendor we are going to get all the information, and here we can see this is the table for the vendor. So we will get the table from the vendor model, and where we are going to match with the id this time, admin user, and like this. Okay, we are going to match sorry, not from the email, vendor id. Okay, vendor underscore id, and here we can check we are having the vendor id in our vendor, sorry, no, not this one. See, id, uh, no, vendor id, because here in admins table we are having the vendor id. Okay, so we are getting the vendor id from the auth guard. Okay, we can see that we are having the vendor id from the auth guard, and this id from this id we are going to compare this id with this id of the vendors table. So from this id we are going to get the complete details of the vendor. I hope it's clear to you. And now we have got the vendor details, and now we are going to check, refresh this one, and see it is saying the vendor need to be included. So we are going to add the vendor model as well. Okay, so now it is fine. We are going to refresh and see. Now we are getting the name of the vendor and also the address we get from the vendor details. Okay, so now we are going to update this one for all. Quickly we can update state, country. Okay, it will save the time. Okay, so here we are going to make the city. Okay, and we are going to have the state, we are going to have the country, and we're going to have the pin code. Now we're going to check here. Okay, so now all the information are here, and also the vendor image. Okay, so now we are ready to submit this form, and here also we are going to update vendor details, and also we are going to have the slug here. We are going to update the personal information, so we want to have the personal here. Okay, so now we are going to update the personal information of the vendor, and now we are going to add here the request. Okay, the request that we have got from the form, update vendor details, and here we are going to add the request now. Okay, so that we can able to update the vendor information, vendor personal information. So we are going to add the request dollar request. Okay, so now in the personal information we will get the poster data, and that we are going to add the condition here. If request is method post, okay, if we will get the poster data here, then we are going to get that all poster data that is posted from the personal information of the vendor. We will get all that data. First of all, we are going to check that whether we are getting the complete data, and then we are going to save it in the vendors table. Okay, so first we are going to check here I am going to update this one. Like I will click on submit. See here we are getting all the complete data. Okay, and now we are going to update this data. So for updating the data, we will again going to use this one along with the validation. Okay, so we can simply, and also the image of the vendor. Okay, so image also, so the same code we can get. Okay, so the validations, mandatory field validation, and also this one. So I'm going to copy these details and we'll paste, and then we can make the changes there. Okay, so let's copy this one, and I'm going to paste here. Okay, so first of all, uh, here I'm going to check once return reject back vendor details. Here I'm going to make it vendor details update successfully, and here we are going to update vendor details, not the admin. We are going to update, and also also we are going to update in admin. We are going to update that name, mobile, and image. Okay, this one also in admin, and along with that we are going to update the all the information in vendor table as well. Update in admins table, we will write like update in admins table and update in vendors table. Okay, so here we are going to update in vendors table, and for that we already know that we will have the vendor id there. Okay, so we can have that id, or we can also update with the email as well, but we can also update with the vendor id. Okay, so here I'm going to use the id here in vendor. Okay, so see id here, check once that what we are using here. See in the same way, see it is auth guard admin user vendor id. So we are going to update in the same way here, and now we are going to update everything, name, address, and everything, all the information. So I'm going to update, I'm going to have this one, and see name, see now we are having the vendor name. So everywhere we need to replace here, but first of all I'm going to complete here. See we are getting the vendor name, so here we will make it vendor mobile, and here also vendor name and vendor mobile, along with the all the other information. I will just copy it like this so that it will save time, and we'll close it, and then name, then address. Okay, so address, vendor address, after that city, so vendor city, after that state, so vendor state will come up here, and country, vendor country, and finally pin code. We are going to check once pin code, vendor pin code. Okay, so all the information we are now updating in vendor and admin table. Okay, so see here also we will check here that vendor name and vendor mobile. Here we'll check once that we are having the right columns here. Vendor name, fine, and mobile also, it's admin mobile. Okay, we are going to make it now see we can use the admin also, because both mobile we will use at admin, but we are going to make it vendor here, vendor. And also here this image we are having, we can replace it with the vendor image as well, so that we will have the better clarity. Okay, vendor image. Okay, so now here also see everything is vendor. We can replace admin underscore with the vendor underscore here, and also in image that we are going to save for the vendor. Okay, So here everywhere we are going to make it vendor image. Okay, so this image we are going to save in admin images photos. We can also make this separate vendor, but that is fine. Vendor is also type of admin, so we can save in the same place. So here one more thing we need to do. Here we can use current admin image. We will have the current vendor image. So the same we are going to use here at both places. That's fine. And now we can add more condition if you want, like vendor name. If you want to have that vendor city, you want to have that mandatory vendor city, so that the vendor will have must add its city as well. So we will just simply write it like this: vendor city is also required, and also we will have that regular expression for city, so that the city is in that characters, not in numerics. So we will write it like the valid city. So you can add your own validation like this. Okay, uh, so now we are going to check it once. I'm going to update the information of the vendor, personal information of the vendor. So the name and mobile is going to update in both admins and vendors table, and rest of the information will update in vendors table itself. Like now I'm going to update the name of the vendor, like from John Cena. I'm going to add some other name, like any other, like I don't know much about the cast. Okay, so here I'm going to add the John John Singh. Okay, so this one, and also I'm going to update the address like this one, and also city. I'm going to update the city. Here you can add any other city. Okay, or we can keep it like this, and we can check it once that we are updating the name and address, and we are going to make sure that we are updating. And the photo, we can update the photo as well, any photo. Okay, I'm going to add this same photo here as well. Okay, I'm going to submit. Okay, here see, we are getting all the details. Here you can see vendor name, address, along with the image as well. Okay, so now I can simply comment this one, so that we can update the details and continue. We'll check it. Vendor details are successfully, and now the name is John Singh, and address is also updated CP11245. And along with the image, we have also got the image now, and I'm going to check the image. See, image, vendor image is also here. Okay, so like this one, we can update the complete information of the vendor, and see, we can completely like we can update the cities as well. Okay, so like city, I'm going to add it Mumbai, Maharashtra. Okay, maybe the spellings are incorrect. Okay, India, and pin code, maybe any pin code. Okay, so I'm going to update the mobile as well this time. Any mobile I'm going to add and submit, and see, we able to update this time the vendor details, complete details we able to update. And also see, this mobile will update in both the tables, both in vendors table as well as name, in both the tables, both in vendors table as well as in admins table. You can check. Okay, so we able to update the personal information of the vendor. So vendor is going to update its personal information like this, and in next video we are going to update the business details of the vendor, and after that bank details of the vendor. Only then admin is going to approve the vendor, so that vendor can able to add the products in the multi-vendor e-commerce website. Okay, so I hope that everything is clear to you. In next video we are going to add the business information of the vendor, so please stay tuned for that, and we will try our best to now fasten our process, so that we can complete the project as soon as possible. So please rewatch the videos if something is not clear, and please ask me. You can contact me in various places. You can contact me in YouTube under the video details, under the video see comments. In the comment section in YouTube you can contact me, or you can contact me in Facebook group, or you can like the page and contact me directly. Okay, so there are many ways to contact me. See, if you any problem, any issue, then you can surely contact me. I will help you with the code so that you can able to complete it as soon as possible. And if you want to get the code up till this video, then you can join the channel. Very low price for the channel, and you can always get the updated code from time to time, and my personal attention with you. Okay, so that's all for now. Have a nice time. Goodbye.